Welcome back to another episode of the CRL podcast. My name is Caleb Smith, driver of the 54 High Five Racing truck and ARCA car on Mondays and Wednesday nights, joined by Jacob and Rob.
This is your boy Jakob Grant, driver of the number 19 truck and ARCA car in the Clean Racing League.
And this is Rob Sherwood, Ron Sherwoo, alter ego, chiller. We love him. Driver of the 93 trucks on Monday, 93 car on this said ARCA Wednesday.
Yeah, and you doing a last first challenge, unintentionally, but
Very unintentionally. That's what happens when you suck at qualifying.
so we had Michigan this past Monday night in the CRL Truck Series. Um, Ross bringing home the win in that one. Um,
What a
how?
legend.
Yeah, I mean, really showing why he's a back-to-back champion. Um, but my race ended pretty early. I called the first caution, slid up in front of Zachary Peterson. I still haven't apologized, so I'll do it right here. I'm sorry. I fucked that up. Um, yeah, I,
Skill
I
issue.
meant to. It was a skill issue. I thought I could slide up in front of him, and I just lost the back end. And I thought I hit the wall pretty square, and I guess I didn't. They gave me about 5 minutes of repairs, and I couldn't keep it. It made the car so undrivable to where it was more beneficial to park it rather than wrecking again. So I just parked it, ended my night early. Um, I don't really know how the rest of the race went, other than Ross winning. Um, it was nice to see Zach up there second when I did check, so it's nice to know it didn't ruin his race. But how was your guys' race?
Um, Honestly, I felt fast. I felt like I could have beat Ross if I wouldn't have ran out of gas at the end. Um, I know he went down and topped off that lap at coming to the green or something like that, and I didn't. And I guess that was the difference there. He had caught some lap trucks, and I think that helped him save a little bit where he needed to. I don't know how much to the good he was, but for that entire run, I was short a single lap. And then it would go down to being short 2 laps whenever I was by myself. And then it would go to being down short half a lap whenever I got behind somebody. So I just I didn't have enough people around me at the time to save the fuel that I needed to save because I had pit a lap earlier than they did as well. That was before me having to pit um, to make it to the end of the race. Whenever I had to pit to make it to the end of the race, that's what caused me to be a lap short because I pit a lap too early. Um, but all in all, I mean, I had a very fast Ghost Athletics truck, and it was tough running out of gas and having to pit with 5 to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen. Running out of fuel. Uh, being out front. Kind of losing the race. Rob, how was your race?
No, I had softball Monday night, so I didn't get home until after the race started. I will say, I walked in the door, I checked my phone. You guys were on lap 19, and I saw there had just been a big wreck, and I kind of saw who got collected in it. I saw Ross T-bone and get T-boned by Jordan Trask, I believe. Um, and so I was like, okay, well, he's probably cooked. Just because you know how aero dependent the big tracks are. And I saw where Josh had given up the lead on pit strategy. And so I kind of took a shower, went back to what I was doing. And then I tuned in and I see Ross, Josh, and Zach driving in a single file line through the infield grass after the race is over. Which was very unexpected. So I didn't go back and watch the race, but I'm super proud of my guys. And of course, Ross always finds a way to put himself in a spot to win. So per usual, I don't know where Dyer finished, but proud of my guys. And it sounded like there was some controversy, so I'm kind of glad I wasn't there.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a little bit of controversy. It was you know what? I wanted to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm done with it. It's over. It
yeah.
happened. It happened.
There was some controversy with the black flag being cleared. It has since been resolved. Everyone understands why, and we've since updated the rule book to from its season 8 rule book to now season 23 rule book. So it's kind of have a big refresh. So we'll be going off of that rule book from race 3 onward. But however, something that isn't controversial is last week's race at Daytona. Absolute thriller that we had. And we had a first time winner in Judson Curtis in the CRL Truck Series. And we actually have him here on the podcast for an interview. First time on. Judson, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Caleb, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Finished fifth at Martinsville just a little bit ago, so that was pretty fun. Um, but yeah, so let's just get right into it. Opening race of the CRL Truck Series season, always at Daytona, always provides a thrilling finish. It was coming down to the last lap, and we're 3 wide. I don't really remember what position you were in. But I know coming to the line, you had Parker Collins by, I think it was, I don't even think it was a tenth of a second. But you ended up winning the race. It was the only lap you led during that race. Um, and this is the third straight season that a first time winner has been crowned at Daytona. Um, I know you were pretty amped after the race. Um, just talk us over how that race went for you, and just now that you're in the playoffs, fighting for a championship now, how's that?
It's excellent, man. I mean, coming to run with the guys in the CRL league, it's pretty intense. I mean, like you come in here thinking, you're the shit, and you ain't. A lot of these guys have good, good racecraft and a lot of speed. So the competition is very, very tough. But the Daytona race was, I feel like a lot of communication involved with the team, Alloy, and Joe and Ricky and Jordan. We got David over there now, but a lot of communication over there, and I really just tried to keep the nose clean as much as I could and just stay out of trouble there. And someone over the radio came up and said, that top line's moving with about 2 to go, and that's when I kind of made my move and jumped up there and kind of held the wheel. And Daytona, a lot of luck's involved, but keep the nose clean and make it the last couple laps, and you got a shot. It's Daytona.
Those plate tracks, winning them are honestly, it's anybody can win them, but it does take skill to win those races. And they showed some on board of you winning that race, and how hard you were getting pushed, and the line you were having to hold. And that's not easy. Like, a lot of people think that what we do on Monday nights and Wednesday nights, or any night of the week you race on iRacing, they think this shit's easy, and it's really not. Like, you have to understand racecraft, and what the vehicle that you're driving can do in order to actually be good at it. Like, last night, I don't mean to change subjects, but last night I was letting my father um try out the simulator. So he raced dirt track in real life, and he was pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to sound biased or anything, because he's my father. If he sucked, I'd tell him that he fucking sucked. Um, but he was pretty good. He won a race, and that was a big accomplishment for him. But he sat down in the seat and got on here, and he was telling me that he could set a faster lap than me, and I could pick the car. I let him pick the track. So chose the car of tomorrow, and he chose Charlotte Motor Speedway. He couldn't complete a single lap, as I was running 15 to 20 laps at a time with one hand in the car of tomorrow. And he just couldn't understand it, and he kept getting frustrated with it. And that there just goes to show you that it's not easy. That somebody who can race in real life and get on here and struggle the way he did is, it's not easy. So I just want to congratulate you on winning and being able to hold all of those aggressive pushes that were behind you, and bringing home the first win of your career in the CRL or Truck Series and the first win of the season.
Man, I greatly appreciate it, man. I tell you what, I got our racing back in August, last August, and I did it to get involved with the dirt stuff, the dirt world, and I quickly realized, I'm not quick on dirt at all, like I thought I'd be. But I switched over here to the asphalt and started running some trucks and Xfinity, and but it just goes to show, like your old man, you think you can go in here and set a hot lap down, and that's not the case.
Yeah, it's a little difficult. And speaking of you starting in August, that was originally where I was trying to head to. What got you into iRacing, and where has your passion for racing in general come from?
So obviously I grew up, around it. Every Saturday, Sunday morning, it was either, duck hunting in the mornings or deer hunting, and racing in the afternoons or in the evenings. So, long story short, fast forward a couple years here, and we got married with the wife and kid, and the kid got a Nintendo. But Tony Stewart's game is out on the Nintendo a couple years back. I say this like it happened yesterday, but I bought that Tony Stewart World of Outlaws game for my kid on his Nintendo. And long story short, this dude Garrett Stone, everyone recognizes him by Saul in the ATC league. He hit me up and was like, "Dude, you gotta stop pussying out on this Nintendo bullshit and just get the iRacing." And I had never even heard of it by then. But he told me what to buy. I bought everything, charged it, swiped it to the card, and made the account, and we're racing now. And like I said, I thought I'd be pretty quick on that dirt, but I'm not quick at all on the dirt. So we switched to the pavement here, and trying to trying to put some names and sponsors out there and get some people I know out there going.
Yeah, and speaking of sponsors, Zio's Party Treat, I had the pleasure of making that truck for you. It was a really dope truck to make. I checked out their website and their Instagram, and gosh, their snacks look so good. Like I want to order some online and have it delivered to the house. Um, but just how is that relationship with those guys?
It's great, man. Like anytime I put somebody on the truck, it's somebody I personally know. So it's not like just some bogus, bullshit, trying to make the truck look good. Obviously we want to make the truck look good for the sponsors, but anytime we put a logo or a name on the truck, it's somebody I personally know. So, Matinee Driveway, JP, all them guys at, Texas Cigar Rollers, and Kenny over at Hart Motorsports, and, Dusty at Zero Streets, like all those guys, they come from like the UPS world, and the UPS background of, preloading back in the days or driving. And, all those guys have kind of either, tried to start a side business, or, have retired and moved on, and, just trying to stay busy. So it's like, I see all these cats running these sick, schemes, paint schemes. And it's like, hell, I mean, if I can do it, I might as well just put somebody I know on the car or the truck.
Yeah,
Well,
that's very cool.
well, I just I got two questions for you. I guess kind of going towards the historical side. You said you transitioned originally coming in to do dirt on iRacing, and you moved over to asphalt. What do you think has been your biggest challenge transitioning over to asphalt from dirt?
Man, that's a tough one. I would honestly have to say it all evolves around racecraft, like getting to know you yourself as a driver, and getting to know, obviously most importantly, the vehicle that you're driving. Um, I feel like that's just a lot of what it is, and people getting involved in some shit that they don't need to be getting involved in, is them not knowing what that vehicle is capable of doing. Um, But I just try to drive anything and everything I can, honestly, just to get wheel time and see what it does.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to do it. We got to do some fun races with the Pro 2 light trucks, and I had never done those before, but man, I had a blast with those things. I don't do dirt very much, but it's fun. So I can understand the enjoyment in that aspect. Um, and then I guess kind of following up more current events. Now that you've won the first race of the season and given kind of the position you've put yourself in, what are you trying to accomplish the rest of the regular season to put yourself in the best position in the playoffs?
I'm trying to learn from, obviously last year and try to just one up it and, take it a step further and see if we can advance another round maybe. And the racecraft in the CRL league is just it's phenomenal. Like you learn something every time you get on track, whether it be practice or the race. Like as long as you know that vehicle's limits, like you can learn something from riding behind somebody. And to me that's pure enjoyment. Like I get a hard on out of that.
Yeah, well, and fortunately, you're in luck because we have a lot of good guys to learn from. I think you've got a couple on your team. Just with Jordan, he's just. I think he's taken everybody up by surprise, and
He's another
obviously,
one of those guys who started not too
uh-huh.
long ago.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yep.
I remember running a practice session getting ready for Kentucky for the playoffs last season, and honestly, Judson and Jordan both were pretty, equaling short run times, and Jordan ended up just kicking my ass in the long run. So, yeah, y'all are very much ahead of the curve for two guys that are just starting.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, and Jordan too, man. Like anytime I get on track with Jordan, it's notebook out, pen and paper. Like we taking notes because, you want to listen to somebody who obviously puts up results. So it's good to be surrounded by a group of individuals who know what the hell they're doing here.
And on over to what we just finished about 45 minutes ago ish. We had Martinsville in the ARCA series, and I took the pole position and led the first 48 to 50 laps or something like that. Um, Caution came out, cars wrecked right in front of me, and I didn't see them. Like I was so close to the guy who wrecked, uh, the two guys who wrecked right in front of me, and didn't see the dude on the outside turning down the track into the inside wall, and I just plowed right into the back of him and shoved him through the wreck. And caution came out. Um, Came around to go pit, and I guess I had just barely passed the pace car going on to pit road, and it gave me a black flag, and I had to hold for 20 seconds. So from that point on, I just pretty much rode around in the back in 16th place, and that's where I finished.
Yeah, I mean it was a for me it was I'm not good at short track racing, and it's not really my strong suit. Really, anything oval is not my strong suit. Um, but I went into tonight. I had put in some practice laps in the practice session before the race. I was feeling pretty confident about the long run speed, but by the time we got to the race, I think I started 12th. I think I started 12th, and I got up to like 7th before that. No, 6th before that first caution. Um, I had Ross and Rob behind me, uh, just cutting through the field. Uh, so super impressive on that. But first caution came out. I pitted, made a few places, was trying to be aggressive. Next caution came out. I was like, okay, I won't do anything here. Another one comes out, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pit, take my tires, and we'd probably get like 3, 4, maybe 5 laps, and then I would push, caution come out, it cooled the tires back down, then we get back up to speed again, make a few moves, caution come back out. Um, so it was I ended up finishing fifth. It wasn't a very eventful night. I think I still should be top three, if not leading the championship points. after this race?
I believe Bobby Mantle is leading the points.
Okay, so I think I should at least be second or third.
If this is correct, it's Bobby with 83, you with 82, and Chris Smith with 81.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, because we practically just swapped finishing order because Bobby finished fourth, I finished fifth, and then Dad finished sixth. So yeah, I mean, it pretty much just flopped. So I'm still sitting second in the points, which I'm pretty happy with after race two because I'm not good on short tracks. So I'll take a fifth any day of the week. Um,
And on speaking of winning first races, Rob Sherwood,
Huh?
absolute
Who? What?
freaking
Huh?
legend of a man, Ron Sherwood. First
Sherwood.
race in the ARCA series, how did that go for you? I mean, to me, it went great. You stole my win, you punk.
Well, it ended a lot better than it started. I'll say that. Um, I hadn't planned on racing tonight, and then I had some stuff fall through the cracks. So I was able to get in there and run, and I only got about 12 or 14 practice laps in, and I felt pretty comfortable. I think my third lap I went fourth fastest on the board, and so I was like, okay, well, I mean, we'll figure it out. And then by the end of practice, I had somehow gotten to the top of the board, and then of course, per usual, I go out in qualifying, and I don't know if I just got back in the throttle too quick or what I did, but it felt way tighter in qualifying than it did in practice. So I just kept running some extra laps in qualifying to kind of help me get comfortable a little bit, and then I just figured we'd take it in stride. And honestly, I had a couple of guys in front of me when we started who just were taking it easy, but you had to be very patient coming through the field. And fortunately, the first stint we got a long stint. We were kind of surprised. I think it was 46 green flag laps. And Ross and I were pretty much nose to tail, very comparable with times and lines we were running and everything. So we were just kind of picking through together, just kind of talking, and we were looking at times. And you get to some of these short track races, and it just you want to you want to be the one that nails the strategy and who stays out just long enough, but not too long, to where tires can't get to you. And we were 35, 40 laps in, and we were running 19.5s, 19.6s, occasionally a low 19.7. And so we knew there wasn't a ton of fall off because I think my fastest lap of the race was a 2.98. So it was only about 4 tenths max for fall off. Um, so we ended up staying out, and I honestly could not believe that Tyler pitted there towards the end. I think we were lap 84, and he pitted, and at that point, I knew Caleb was on tires. I think Bobby Mantle was on tires. Ghost was on tires, and they weren't. That pack wasn't really catching because it's so hard to pass here, which I think shows because Ross and I think ended up winning by. I think we gapped everybody by about 2.6, 8 seconds, and that was with 60 laps on our tires. So it was just really hard to pass, honestly. But yeah, no, I love racing in Martinsville, and these cars are super fun to drive on short tracks. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I was just excited to get to race. So especially having missed Monday, it was fun to get out there and just kind of shoot the shit. And fortunately, have a green flag run at Martinsville. That's the most fun when this track is run under green flag laps.
Yeah, that was the first 46. And honestly, there towards the end, I was because so in the ARCA series, you get an extra bonus point for pole position, you get an extra bonus point for leading the most laps, one for leading a lap, and then another bonus point for something else. So there's a total of 4 bonus points that you can accumulate in a race. I got 3 of those. I led the most laps. I had the fastest lap. Oh, that was the other one. So that's the fourth one is the fastest lap of the race. I ran a 19.225, faster than what I qualified. Which was honestly surprising, but like you said, the car was very tight in qualifying for some reason. It's the same setup that we run in both qualifying and race. So I don't don't really understand that, but I was getting worried that you were going to pass me in laps led there at the end, and because me finishing 16th, I needed all the extra points that I could get. So I'm happy I came away with the pole position point, the fastest lap point, and leading the most laps.
Well, this it was a great race all the way around. We had some incidents, but Rob coming away with the win in his first race in the ARCA Series, CRL ARCA Series. Um, but to pivot to real life racing, we've seen a return to Rockingham for the Truck and Xfinity Series, which um, I didn't catch a lot of. So I'm gonna let you guys take the helm for that one. Um, yeah, lead us off with that.
Um, well, honestly, the truck series, I don't think I really watched
No,
too much of the truck
nothing
series.
really crazy happened in the truck series that I know of. They got off strategy a little bit. Corey Heim was really fast per usual, and then due to some strategy and how cautions fell, they tried to run it longer, and I think they expected a caution to come out, and it didn't come out. So he ended up pitting, and he still finished eighth. Even when he had to make an extra pit stop compared to everybody else under green flag conditions. But Tyler Ankrum got himself, I believe it's his second win in the Truck Series.
Yeah, and
Um,
he started 16th, I believe, and um, Jake Garcia, who started on the pole, I think.
Yeah,
He ended
started
up
on
Correct.
pole.
Yes.
bringing it. He ended up bringing it home in second place, which was a good run for him. You don't, me personally, I don't ever really see Jake Garcia up front like that. So that was really cool to see him up there. Daniel Hemrick bringing it home in third, Rajah Caruth in fourth, and Grant Finger in your top five. So
Yeah.
the little bit that I caught of the truck race, it seemed like a very decent race. It seemed like if you lost the air on the bottom of that track, you were if somebody was above you, you were going to either slide into them and wreck them, or you were going to have to slow down and catch your truck. So
My only complaint was watching the trucks not run at night, and that was super weird. So this is my official request to get lights at Rockingham and bring back night races for the trucks because that would be awesome.
Yeah, it started like 5 p.m. on a Friday. Like, like
Yeah, they had a lot to fit in with the arc of the trucks and the Xfinity because they were obviously trying not to run on Easter Sunday, so it was a lot to fit
yeah,
into 2 days. But it was definitely abnormal to have it so early on a Friday.
yeah, and then so Tyler Ankrum coming home with the win in the Truck Series. Moving on to the Xfinity Series, we've seen a DQ with the two car of Love, which gave the win to Sammy Smith in the 8. I'm sure his diecast will be flying off the shelf due to that.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm going to buy his diecast just so I can ram it into the back of other diecasts.
it it is quite interesting. I'm starting to wonder if Richard Childress Racing is ever going to get a penalty that they don't appeal and that they just accept.
Never.
That's
I mean,
Why
I
would they
guess
accept that? Why would they do that?
I guess it out like I guess there's no downside to appealing it. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe they figure if you know, there's no harm in appealing it. What's the worst that they can do? Say he's disqualified. Um I don't know. It was I know that wasn't it was kind of a weird race. I really kind of I spot watched it. So I didn't watch much of it. I kind of saw here and there. Obviously you have the big controversy surrounding the lap car. And getting having the incident with William Sawalich, and then you had the disqualification at the end with Jesse Love giving the win to Sammy Smith. So it was a very weird Xfinity race. So they tried to make up for the drama of the Cup Series not racing on Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, I enjoyed watching the Xfinity cars at Rockingham. It was a fairly decent race. I at the end, I wish So like it seemed like they didn't really know how much fuel they had, and honestly, it's the pickup in the fuel tank or in the fuel cell, and when on the banking was so much going through the corners, it just wouldn't stay in the pickup, and people were running out of gas. At that point, what would you guys do in that situation if you see somebody run out of gas in front of you who and then you're on the same strategy as them and or maybe a couple lap different and know that they just ran out, what would you do in that situation? Would you pit just so you know for sure you had enough fuel, or how would you guys go about that? Because me personally, I think I would have just pit. That way I didn't junk a bunch of race cars running out of gas.
Well, I think it depends on who you are and kind of where you're at. You know, if you're a pay to race team that really is just out there to run sponsors and get a paycheck, then yeah, you come pit and you just try not to wreck a bunch of cars. If you're somebody who's in need of a win, I think you're trying anything you can to be off strategy. So I think you're willing to risk it and stay out as long as you can. It honestly just depends on who you are, what the situation is, unfortunately. And you got so many differing strategies and scenarios out there that I think guys are willing to risk it longer just because there's such a high risk, high reward part of it.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I guess it really just it depends on your situation and where you stack up.
Well,
Well,
um,
Caleb, did you see the incident with the lap car? I can't. Is it Catherine
it's
Leger?
it's
Is that how you
it's
pronounce it?
it's Catherine Legg. So okay,
Leg. Okay.
listen. I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now.
Why was she in the middle of the fucking
It
corner?
She was trying to let the faster cars go. She was trying to let the car on the inside go, and the speed differential because she slowed down. Swallow didn't have enough time to react, and just killed her. Um, I would like to go ahead and say, she's not a bad race car driver. She in her 3 starts in a stock car, she has not been very good. But I think she's going to. She comes from IndyCar and the road side of things, so this is completely different to her. Um, I mean, but like you have all these people online saying that she can't drive, um, saying all these terrible things. And it's like she's very talented at what she does, um, but it's just her execution in stock car has not been it. But I think it'll come over time if she keeps wrecking and finishing the way she is. I don't think she'll be doing it much longer. She'll probably go and race something else. Um, but I mean, I think once she finds her footing and you know figures out when and where to do things, I think she'll be fine. I think throwing her straight into a cup car really fucked up people's opinions of her, because of what happened at Phoenix. Um, but yeah, what
Yeah,
happened?
I'd agree with that. I'd definitely agree with that because I think we're kind of, as humans, sometimes we're a little, once we get that first impression in our heads, it's kind of hard to bounce back from that. I've seen
Yeah,
several people that have said um, that she had no business being there. I've also seen several people that have said, "Hey, the 48 car got around her with the same amount of room, no problem. Why couldn't the 18 do the same thing?" So, I've honestly seen some criticism towards Sawallich as well. I think he's had some issues with either wrong place, wrong time, putting himself in bad situations, whatever that may be. But I think I saw where he's like 24th in points or something on the Xfinity side. So clearly, he needed a good result there, whether it was on Catherine Legg or whether it was on him. It sucks for them.
Yeah, it was a shitty situation all around, and Casey Kane unfortunately got caught up in that one for the
Yeah.
his second wreck,
I
and
forgot we hadn't
he
even talked about him. His return to NASCAR.
dude he if
He'll
he
be
would have
back.
never got caught up in that first wreck, he had the fastest car in my opinion in the long run. There was no way in hell Jesse Love was fast, and that was probably going to be Casey Kane's only competition, but Casey Kane was going to come back and win his first race, in my opinion, and I truly believe that because even with a messed up car, he came back and finished what 14th, I think. So he was fast. It's like he never missed a beat.
It was a little weird seeing him in a HendrickCars.com scheme running for RCR. It just feels weird.
Yeah, but don't they have like a kind of like a partnership in the
Yeah,
Xfinity side
yeah.
with
They,
Hendrick and RCR?
as far as I'm aware of, yes. It to some extent, I think at least on the engine side, as far as I'm aware of.
Um, you know, we're still gonna stay on the topic of NASCAR. Did you guys see the All-Star race rules and the stuff they're doing for the All-Star race that
I
they
did,
announced
but
today?
I
I
can
seen it,
never
but I
keep up
didn't
with
read
it.
it.
Yeah,
I didn't really read
So
all of it and go into depth on it.
the only thing
so
that matters to me is that they're counting all laps, that they're not doing the bullshit of caution laps don't count anymore because that was horrendous.
yeah, it so let me see if I can so the first one we're gonna talk about, or we're just gonna bring up. The first one we're gonna bring up is the promoter caution. So basically, at any given point, it could be 2 laps to go. Say
So they're
Kyle
just gonna
Larson,
throw it whenever
they
they want.
they can throw it whenever the fuck they want to throw it. At least that's what I got from it. I could be completely wrong, but from everything I've read, they can throw it whenever they want. Um, let's see. They're I think yes. So they're bringing back All Star qualifying. Um, where they got to do the 3 laps, the out lap, pit stop
The
lap,
pit.
and then yeah. So pit crew
I
challenge.
I liked that format last year, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So but yeah, they're doing the pit stop challenge. Um, the heat races, 2 heat races, 60 laps each. Um, then you have the open, of course, before it. Um, oh, I'm sorry. An optional promoter caution must be executed prior to lap 220, and it's a 250 lap race. So they have 220 laps to throw it whenever. So they could throw it at 219 and bunch the
So
field back up.
essentially, what they're doing is they're going ahead and getting in front of it, so that way, when we ultimately get strung out on a green flag run, then they can point to it and say, "Well, it's not a NASCAR debris caution; it's the optional promoter caution,"
Yeah, and
aka
it,
to make it interesting.
and
Yeah,
so
just if it gets too spread out and the racing's not interesting and somebody's just dominating and taking off, and I'm sure that's when they'll throw it.
Someone in
it's
the Fox production room has a massive erection at reading that because they can't
oh
wait
yeah,
to throw a caution to go to commercial.
it's
Oh
it
yeah.
says if the promoter caution has not been executed and a natural caution occurs after lap 200, the optional caution will no longer be in play. So
So they're gonna
Ugh.
throw it before lap 200.
yeah, that would be my guess. Um, so realistically speaking, they have about 199 laps to figure out when they're gonna throw this fake ass caution. Um, but there's
I
that.
just
Huh?
I it's I don't know why it doesn't surprise me. It annoys
Yeah.
me, but it doesn't surprise me.
And
So I
then
seen something on it about the manufacturers, like, or are
yeah.
they like all teaming up now? It's just Ford against Chevy against
S-
Toyota.
So I'm gonna read this off because that was the next thing I was gonna get to. Manufacturer showdown. So teams Chevy, Ford, Toyota. It says it will be equally represented. Don't really know what that means, because they're all there anyway. But it says the members per team will be determined by the least represented manufacturer, and an equal number of drivers from the other two manufacturers will be selected based on their final All-Star grid starting positions. Teams will be scored
So
against each other and not by their overall All-Star finish. The lowest combined total finishing positions will be the winning manufacturer. In the event of a tie, the single best overall finishing position will determine the winner.
Brother,
I don't
huh?
I don't understand. So
It-
all,
so basically, so Toyota has the least
the
amount
least,
of
yeah,
cars.
yeah.
So what they're going to do is they're going to go from Toyota, and however many drivers they have in the field, they're going to take that amount of drivers from Chevy and that amount of drivers from Ford, and then I guess those are the ones that are going to be competing in their whatever the fuck you want to call this. If I had to
Uh,
guess,
s-
yeah, I don't
s-
know.
I I'm sure they'll explain it better than how they described it here. But I'm reading through these comments. Good to see them calling them promoter cautions now that we know they're debris cautions. Um, let's
Yeah,
see,
glad to know that everybody else called onto that as well.
Bob, because I'm on Bob Pockers' Twitter. It says, Bob, can you please elaborate? We're confused. Um,
highly.
let's see. Um, yeah, yeah. See, like someone said, Manufacturer Showdown sounded cool till you read it, and they overcomplicated everything. I,
Like it sounds way too complicated. Like it
yeah,
sounds like they shouldn't even try it.
yeah. I yeah. It's I don't know. I'm sure once it comes down to All Star Weekend, we'll understand it better. Hopefully. Um, or else we're just mindly watching cars go around in circles, which some of us do anyway. You know, sometimes you turn on a race, take a nice nap, wake up, like, oh, there's still like 30 laps left. You sit down, you enjoy it. Um, I don't know. However, that's enough of this confusing NASCAR talk. Let's get into F1 to end our podcast here today. Um,
Yeah, I'm
Rob,
just gonna go ahead and say it.
yep.
Less confusing is Max Verstappen getting actually, that's not true. It's a little confusing in the sense that he should have gotten a more strict penalty. He should have gotten a
I
10-second
I
penalty, but that is
disagree.
that is
I
less
disagree.
controversial.
Why is he getting a penalty there? He is this
Sir,
is and so
sir,
I don't know
sir,
F1, and this is just
sir.
me as a spectator who is trying to get
Okay.
into this.
Okay, let me explain to you how this works. So in F1 rules, it's a little bit different. So in NASCAR, if you were within somebody's quarter panel, front to rear, you were there. You are required to leave a space. If you don't leave a space, you're probably going to put them in the fence, maybe right here, rear yourself into the fence. In F1 it's different. They have they've got different runoff areas. They don't always have a wall there. So the way the rules are written in F1 is that if your front axle is in front of the car you were passing, it's that person's corner. So essentially what happened was Max got beat straight up on the start by Oscar. Oscar goes into the corner ahead, but Max does this thing. He lets off the brake
Mm-hmm.
to ease his front axle ahead to make it look like it's his corner, when in reality, he's not making the corner. So all he does is he rolls into the corner faster than what Oscar does, says, "Oh, he ran me wide," and then doesn't think he has to give the position back so that way he doesn't get in dirty air, when in reality, it was not his corner because he was behind. And if he goes into that corner normally, he's going to get past. It's simple. He did the same thing to Lewis in 2021. There's a video of him. It's the same thing he did to Lando last year at multiple opportunities. It's just Max got maxed by Oscar Piastri.
And see, I guess that's I mean I mean I know about the like it's if it's your position or you have to give the position or whatever going into the corner. But like, is that corner not big enough for 2 cars to make it around?
Well, it is. The problem is Oscar kicked his ass going into the first corner, and if he doesn't let off the throttle or if he doesn't let off the brake to make it seem that he's ahead, they won't have to go too wide into that corner because Oscar has them. So that's the biggest issue. And, that's part of the frustration with not only Max, but what F1 has turned into, because a lot of guys are doing this because it's it's almost like a hack in the rules. And they've talked about the dirty air and how nobody wants to get in the dirty air. Well, if Max just gives the position back, he doesn't get a time penalty, but he
And see,
doesn't
that
want
was
to be.
my next question was were they just giving him a time penalty like immediately and that was it? Or did he like if he slowed down and gave that position back, like is that an option? Like
That is
did,
100% an
did
option.
he
And
had the
normally,
option to just slow down and give it back to him?
Yep.
yes. So
And he
while he
wouldn't have got a
was
5-second penalty?
Yep.
correct. So while he was not directly instructed to do that, the way the stewards traditionally work with F1 is if something like that happens, they will give you every opportunity to essentially sort it out yourself. If you don't sort it out yourself, then they step in and there's an investigation. And that's what happened with Max, because by the time the safety car came out, he never gave the position back. So at that point, they deemed that as him not taking the opportunity to give the position back, and therefore there was a time penalty presented.
Got you. Okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense, um, especially coming from somebody who doesn't really know too much about it. I don't know. I Max
The
Verstappen should have won. That's all
the
I
the
gotta say about it.
the style of and I'm going to word it this way because it really is. The style of road racing in Europe is completely different to how we do it here. So that the European style, which is Formula One and all of that, where you know it's my corner. I was 6.5 inches, you know, to the apex further than you. It's my corner. I'm going to run you into the grass now. I hate it. It's bad. But I mean that's how they're officiated. So, and the guy on the outside trying to make a move is often the one getting blamed. Um, in the scenario with Max, like Rob said, he intentionally let off the brake, got his car in front of Oscar, um, and tried to say that was his corner when in reality, there's no way you're making that 90-degree corner at the rate
You
you're
don't think he
going.
would have made it?
No,
Absolutely not.
no. He knew he wasn't gonna make it. His goal was to get his tire in front of Oscar, say that's my corner. I got pushed off. Now now give him a time penalty.
Yeah. His
And
goal was never to make that corner. His goal was to make it through enough of the corner that he could hit the runoff area and also have said, "Hey, I was ahead at the apex. It's my corner."
yeah,
So basically, it's just drivers trying to, because I see it throughout
play the
the whole
system
field,
pretty
like not
much.
just with Max. It's like they're just trying to, I guess, like you said, bend the rules and
Yeah, I
find
mean they're
something fun.
using the stewards and the FIA's rulings against them is essentially what they're doing. I mean, they're taking advantage of something that the FIA has created.
I
It
think as it sits right now, the FIA is the worst it's ever been. And I think it solely comes down to the president of the FIA. I'm not going to attempt to say his name. I'm going to butcher it. We all know who I'm talking about. He fucking
I
sucks.
don't.
Well, just look up FIA president drives F1 car, and it'll show you him wrecking it in a straight line. That's who's running. That's who's running the Formula One uh, FIA, side of things. I mean, he runs all of it. Formula 2, Formula 3, uh, Rally, anything with the FIA tag hooked to it, that's him.
I
Um,
believe it's I believe it's Mohammed bin Sulayem is
yeah,
how you pronounce it.
yeah, I would have butchered it. fuck him.
Been
I mean,
smitten.
it listen. He's just nobody likes him. He's just not very good. He's just not a good president. Um, and some of his rulings on some things aren't very good either. Um, but maybe this season will be different. Um, however, I'd like to go ahead and thank our sponsors for today's episode of the CRL podcast: Ghost Athletics, Grant Designs. Um, having them on board for the CRL Truck Series on Monday nights on OSRN, and having Grant Designs on board with the CRL ARCA Series on Wednesdays at 8:30 on OSRN. Um, really making the leagues what they are, making this podcast what it is. Super happy to have them here. Um, but yeah, it was super fun having Judson on. Us getting a word with him. About his first CRO win, knowing he's been doing iRacing for less than a year, already winning races in these leagues. Super impressive, especially in a league like CRL Truck Series. Rob, you winning in the CRL Truck Series tonight at Martinsville, doing the last first challenge.
Very
But
unintentionally.
yep. But
Well, it happened.
we would like to thank everyone for listening to today's podcast, and we will see everyone next time. Bye bye.